but better late than never, right? Isn't that what they say? Whoever they are.
That's correct. I've talked to him yesterday.
Yep. Good afternoon. We all doing well?
Doing good.
Cool.
Okay.
Going to talk about security awareness training for a little bit, and what to look for in your provider. Before we do that, we are the Reboot. I am Brian Bracci with B&L PC Solutions out of Long Island, New York. And
David Luft with LDD Consulting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
And I am Dave Brute with WinStar Technologies in Culpeper, Virginia.
Cool. All right. So security awareness training is I want to say most companies should be running some kind of training program. You may be running it now and not even know that you have it, because it not necessarily, I mean, it should be documented and like everything else we talk about, but it's more than just the simulated phishing emails that go out. Should be a program in place, and we kind of want to talk about what if you're looking for a partner or a program, some things to consider. If you currently have a program, just again, take a listen to some of the things that we talk about and see if they're offering this to you, and we'll tell you the benefits of it. The first thing I'll say is that a security awareness training program, the initial goal, what we do is when we onboard new clients, we want to establish some kind of behavioral baseline, so we can, and we do that through, we let them know that we're going to do some phishing simulations and send stuff out. And along with that, they help us pick topics. We pick topics. It really matters on how you want to structure your offering, but you can pick a bunch of batteries and just send out these emails. And then after, the first month, you should sit down, or they should sit down with you and review what happened here, who clicked what, who entered credentials, and just establish that baseline. And then the goal is by the end of the year, you can sit down and say, you were here in the beginning of the year, and you as a group or a company, your score went down. That's how we started.
What is it that we're considering security awareness training, though? Like, I'm just trying to, for the people out there, like what are we calling? Like, is this phishing only? Phishing exercise? Like,
it can be. I mean, some people do that, but I don't think it's limited to that.
Okay.
Because part of our security awareness training is we send out content that this aware content that you have to take. You have to watch these videos, and again, they're not. Maybe we send out 2 or 3 a month that are anywhere from 90 seconds to 3 minutes or something like that, and just again topical. What to look for in emails, what the challenges of USB mesh storage and banking credentials, just all topical things that they get graded on, and they get a report card on their training. So it's not just the phishing emails, at least on our part.
Okay. Some of the training, though, is annual, and I don't think that's good because you really need to be thinking about it all the time. So if you're getting it at least twice a month, that's going to make you think about it, and just every time you see an email, you're going to wonder.
Yeah,
these
emails are good.
Or get a text, or
isn't that more like? Doesn't that kind of come, David, from the compliance? Like back in the day when HIPAA was becoming HIPAA. Right? They were saying, hey, you need to have some security awareness training. And by the way, you should have it every year and have people attest to it. But back then the threat landscape wasn't what it is today. No. And so you're right. Brian, you mentioned once a year, and David, you said that's not, I don't think it is enough, but that is still what a lot of these regulations call for, simply because they were written at a time and they haven't been updated. And frankly, to me, security awareness training, I'm sorry, I'll stop in a sec, Brandon, but it is more about changing the culture, right? Changing the mindset, getting people aware of the fact that there's a threat everywhere they look and what to be thinking about.
Although from your cybersecurity training, annual's still good because then it puts the issue back on the employee after they watch the training and say that they understand it. That takes it off of the company too. But I don't think that's sufficient.
Well, it's better than nothing for sure, right? But it's
Not much.
Okay, I'll give you that. But
Because people just, if you don't see it all the time, it's not going to be at the forefront of your head.
so
If you're talking about cadence, like
Yeah.
just to mark a compliance requirement checkbox, then annual is fine.
Mhm.
But I mean, and that's always what we pushed in the beginning. But the problem with annual is there's a couple problems. Number one, usually when you do the annual training, it's like what, 45 minutes to an hour, and you've got people who are not really necessarily interested in the topic, technology or cybersecurity. And they're just like wanting to put a nail through their head, and they get done with it, and then it shoots out, and they don't care anymore, and they just move on with their day and with their work. So I mean, that's one issue, getting actual engagement, and then having them remember any of those topics like 6 months later. Good luck.
So what do you do? I mean, how do you make that better?
What we've been doing, and I've seen a lot of success with, is just doing very short targeted trainings, like not relying on phishing only. Like that is one thing you can do to help, but we'll put together a full training program for the year, and it'll be something that's a quick short burst every single month. And so each month, maybe it's 3 minutes, up maybe
Mhm.
3 to 5 minutes, let's say, but something digestible, something pertinent to the business. So like, if it's a government contractor, maybe one month it's a little bit of info around CUI. And then another month it's something about clean desk policy. Like it's not all just cyber and your computer related. There's other things that they
Oh, I
need to
mean,
be
it's
thinking
catching a
about
smoke
based
break
on
and people tailgating you
industry.
on the way back in the door, whatever. I mean, you can go a
Yeah.
thousand different ways with it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I
Yeah.
think it translates to it should translate to the home too, to your personal life. Like there's no separation there. It should be something that is just and that's why we consider it. It's just an ongoing process. It's not we don't even call it. I mean, we do it monthly, but it's just ongoing. And along with the phishing, they have the ability, our clients, to go ahead and click on something that they feel is a phishing email, not necessarily from us. And we get that, and so that part of it, the engagement, is something that actually some of them I think are they kind of get a pat on the back for identifying something.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there incentive programs, or do you guys see any
Yeah,
benefit
pat on the back.
being recognized? Well, okay, that's fine. Public recognition for a lot of folks is a pretty big thing. I
Sure.
mean,
And as the landscape keeps changing, it doesn't change once a year. It's constantly changing.
well, I like what Brian said in the beginning. Role specific, right, or even industry
Yeah.
specific,
Yeah.
and making sure the training is applicable, because that's what keeps them from being not so bored, right? I know it's a pain, right, having to watch a video or whatever, but then what we've had some success with is we just randomly go up and spot quiz, right? We just start talking to people in our clients' offices or on my team. Hey, talk to me about phishing and blah 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 blah. What's business email compromise and why do we care? Because it's a culture, right? It's a I mean, on Friday afternoon, we sit down and we watch a half an hour thing with my entire tech team, and then we go over all the details, right? Why? Well, because it's changing all the time. And if you're not thinking about it all the time.
One of the things we do is we because the perception is that for all of our clients, we're providing the perimeter filtering on the email coming in, right? So the little spam that they do get that comes through, is still an annoyance. What we do is we sit down and show them twice a year. Here's what we prevented. There's 10,000 emails that we didn't allow in. So the ones that got in, they're just getting craftier, smarter, better at sending these through. So we didn't catch them. And those are, other than our own simulations, these ones that got through, there's something there that, again, we're not perfect. It's not our, we're just supporting what we providing you with something that we can support. But it's far from perfect. But here's what we didn't allow.
None of it's a guarantee.
Yeah.
By any means, right? Like we can put as many tools on the planet in play, and you can still have a person click a link and the game's over. It doesn't matter.
But even then, now they're using texting, and now they're a lot of phone calls.
They're using images. They're using. I mean, these guys are getting crazy. I mean, they're getting crafty. And frankly, I mean, look, we talk about all this stuff in the cybersecurity world, on Reboot and everywhere else all the time, but it's layers in defense, right? It defense in layers. It's having things kind of all over the place because none of them is a guarantee, right? And but the security awareness training is just that. It's making people aware of how they can be implicated, right? Like if they don't understand that a text can be dangerous, they don't think that that's a problem, right? If they don't, I had an employee come to me the other day and tell me that his wife had been hacked, and she got her credit card company to switch, to cancel the card, switch the card to a new number and everything. But she continues to get notices that this guy is trying to make charges on her old card that she has had. And I told him, I said, look, that's not this guy. What is this? Right? That's the dark web selling that credit card number over and over and over and over again. And so it's a new guy each time he sees it ain't something that hacker's moved on, right? He knows that card's no good. But anyway, that they don't know those things. They're not aware of that. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the security.
Yeah. It's the clicking on the things, right? So it's changing the overall mindset of your daily, usage with technology. So it's getting that phishing email that comes in, clicking on the link, and then now the link is asking, they want my Microsoft password. Now change that mindset and well, no, I think B&L said never give anybody your credentials, never enter them unless you initiated the contact. Like, so it's really trying to focus on that is hard because the technology is changing and we talk about two-factor all the time and it's just we've had people
can be circumvented. That's
all part of training too.
Right.
That's part of the training. We had a big through one of our clients, one of their portfolio companies, they said that they were breached and they were, but it was because because they thought it came in through a false like a lookalike domain on my client's end, and it wasn't. And so we after some discovery, it was found out that the recipient kept getting duo prompts on his phone for his office account, and he wasn't doing anything. So finally, he just approved it because he thought it was something he was doing, and that's what let them into the account. They sat in the tenant and they did all this stuff. So again, training in that, so it kind of goes along. It's not just
my gosh. You can get into you could train forever, right? Like you have to. You have to. I'm sorry, but like all those things, MFA and all that kind of stuff. As soon as you put a token on a hard drive, I can take that token, pick it up, and put it on another machine, and I'm logged in as you in Microsoft, and you've got everything set up right? Yep. And I'm still passing it. So if you're a hacker, the rules don't apply.
Right.
Right. So you got to keep people on their toes because the reality, and I know we're talking about what to look for, but the people still are the weakest link. And they're the ones that, got to know what to look for and what to think about and what to do. And sometimes, it's an emotional thing, right? It's a call to action. It's
sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I think this is why, in addition to training, doing the phishing testing is a big help. Although some people say it gets to be too much, but keeping people on their toes is a big piece of it. And
it identifies the problem people who need further instruction. And frankly,
problem people are the ones that the higher you go up in the pay scale, those are the ones that are.
Those are the ones who usually don't think they need it, and they need it the most, right? And frankly, I mean, guys, I'll admit it on the air here, but I've actually gotten, I've gotten faked out. Like I've clicked links and gotten chastised for it because and it's like, well, that really I thought was a legit, and it's like, well, it doesn't matter what you think, right? It's not. Right. So
it's crazy. So let's talk about some things that you should look for in a provider. So kind of what we talked about here is not just the phishing emails. You want more than that, right? You want to make sure that they're providing some sort of training, whether it be, in person is good on the cybersecurity side for compliance. But like I said, we do the videos every month, and I think that's a definite bonus because that's something that it's measurable. We can go review results and see where we need improvement and identify, like we talked about, the problem people that need a little bit more training, and you can steer it towards their weaknesses. So the ability to do that is something I think is important, and being able to report on these results, and make sure that they sit down with you and review it, because there's no point in it if they're not seeing the benefit and the buy-in. But to kind of piggyback what we talk about all the time is that this is now, we're seeing it more and more with cybersecurity insurance policies. That what are you doing for training, security awareness training, and it's not a matter of for a lot of our clients, they have to have it, so it fits in line with their insurance needs.
Listen, if you have cyber insurance, which you should, then realistically some form of security awareness training is a thing. But I think if I were to say a kind of a couple of items that you should be looking for in these providers would be the ability to lay out a 6-month or 12-month plan and have it scheduled, so that because this is a time suck on some level, and some people tend to want to not do it because of that, right? So if you can dedicate a time, one time, and get 6 months booked out, then it's not as hard to do. And then employee attestation and proof is a big thing, right? We need to be able to track that. When they took it, did they pass? All those things, that they understood what they did see, and that they didn't have any questions. Also, that they were afforded the opportunity to get clarity from management on these things if they have questions. There should be some way to track that. And it should be role specific or industry specific. And then I think you should pepper in person.
To go back to the thing that there's a time sync element, the less you have to do to manage the platform, the better. So when we were looking at solutions, we wanted to make sure that it would integrate with their directory structure. So if they used Office 365, it integrated with that to pull in users, so that every time there's a new hire, termination, things like that,
and
the automation is kind of there. It just,
and they work on in through.
Exactly. And then you don't have to have somebody go in there every single time, make sure they get set up from scratch, spend the time to do it. Just kind of makes it a little bit easier. I did want to mention, because you were talking about people having cyber insurance, a lot of cyber insurance carriers are giving away some of this stuff for free too. So I think people should just be aware, like, they don't have to always worry they need to.
Yeah, all over the place, right? I mean, and
that's true.
The content's out there. Why would you pay for it? Well, because you don't have the time to put it together, right? Like, I mean,
and what level you need, right? Correct. For the automation and all those other things that you mentioned. Yeah,
that's right. But if you don't have those means, right, you can still accommodate that at a no cost factor pretty easily. Yeah. There's plenty of opportunities. I mean, I think, gosh, there's like NIST or a couple other different places. They actually have stuff right there for you.
Yep.
Can't say I've ever looked at it, but it's there. But
what systems do you guys like using?
What products?
Yeah, I know KnowBe4 is a big name out there. We like InfoSec. I've been using InfoSec for now a few years.
That's who we use. We use InfoSec. They have a great library. And I just talked to them Monday of this week, just to have a refresh on what's changed, because we kind of, like you were saying, David, we set up stuff in advance, 6 to 12 months in advance, just to have everything lined up. But if there's a change or something topical or something in technology, let's adjust a little bit, and so that's again something else to look for is that ability, like you mentioned, to be able to do that.
I like that, where you can push out an immediate, we'll call it a campaign, right? Like, oh my gosh, there was a big thing on the news, and in Microsoft, blah, 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 and I want everybody to be thinking about this, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's kind of neat.
What's cool about them is they also have that role specific type of training, and they've got just a huge library. So that's a great function from them as well.
Yeah, I mean, we mix it up. I mean, we do use a couple of vendors, and then I've got kind of my own library of training that I've done over the course of time, and I keep it updated as well. But I don't know that it doesn't matter, right? Whatever you're using, as long as it's current and interesting. I mean, some of these videos are just like, why? Like, but if you get a good product, that's what you should be looking for, right? It's something that look, it doesn't have to be we're watching a blockbuster movie. thing, right? But it has to
Right.
be, relatable. It has to be something that, because people aren't going to take it serious if it's not. If they can't see themselves sitting in that place and that happening to them, it means nothing.
Again, that's true, but if these programs are being pushed down
Mhm.
from the bosses, the higher ups, the owners, whoever it is, everyone has to do this. We just one of our clients that we've been pitching to again, and it's not a moneymaker for us. It's really,
No.
it's a small piece, and it's the reason we do it is obviously it falls in our wheelhouse of services,
Sure.
but to get it set up and it's not hard, right? It's once it's done, but there is some stuff we have to do on the client side to allow these whether it be emails, videos to come through on the trading side. But once we get the client that we've been working with, finally they have to have it now. So I said, nothing, give me an hour. You'll be set up and we'll start the campaigns. It's that easy for us to do. And again, I think we charge $25 a user a year for what we provide. At that level, which is your video training and your monthly emails. It's not crazy, and it checks a box on the compliance and the insurance side. So it's a great line item, and it's like I said, it's not a moneymaker, but we really enjoy being able to show our contacts the benefits of it.
See, I'm the only nut job out there who thinks that I want to get everybody to just realize how much it benefits them to be so aware that they just want to do it, right? Like,
right.
I know that's not going to happen, but
Nope.
I really wish it would.
Nope.
Right. It's not about making money. It's about saving yourself.
It is.
And keeping your customers secure, because that's the biggest opening is people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have one of these days we should do a reboot on just, how is it that we can get people to, what is it that makes them understand the risk, right? Like, you sit there, I don't know. I just feel like we're constantly preaching and we're talking and we're presenting these bits of information to folks, and it's still kind of like, that's not me. No,
Right.
I'm too small, or it isn't, but then it's panic time, when something bad happens and they're looking for somebody to get them out of it. And you're like, then now you're helpless because they didn't listen. You know what I mean? And there's no backups and there's no, and so, yeah. Anyway.
Before this call, I literally just hung up with somebody that was going over a proposal, and he's like, "I will. You take the training off," and I'm like, "No." First of all, it's a very
what do you say?
Line item. And I said, no. I said it's not. I know more about what you need than you know, and it's just like. There's still that resistance for no reason. I said, this is $500 or whatever it was a year. It's like, it's nothing.
Hey, I got a doctor's appointment next week, and when they tell me I need to re-up my cholesterol medication, I'm going to tell them no.
No, right.
I'm going to say no. Why? Because
what do you mean you want me to floss?
What? I don't know. I mean, we look at it and look, I know we can make it sound so simple, but it's because we do know the threat, right? I mean, we can see it out there. We know it's out there. And
we have one time my guys went out to a customer's and they got a little bit confused and they went into the wrong office and they let them right into the server room.
Oh,
and we weren't even their IT staff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know how many times I have been on the phone with a prospect doing a pen test, walking through the initial stages of just finding out their level of security, only for them to realize halfway through it that they don't really know who I am and that I'm now scanning their network, all because I called them. What I mean? It's like, hello.
When you tell them you're from Microsoft, that's what opens it up for you.
They love it. They're like, oh, Dave from Microsoft's coming by. He's going to scan. Guess what? He doesn't even need to come over.
And in case you're not aware, that's a typical phone scam.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
It can happen.
Not you guys not aware, but I mean the people watching the reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's why. Yeah. I want to make sure that that's clear.
Cool. All right. Anything else? You can.
Well, the training's one piece, but then
I
you
guess-
also have to have those follow-up, the tests, the phishing tests and the dark web scans, so that even though there's nothing you can do about keeping your stuff off the dark web, you need to know so that you can pay attention to what's going on and what to expect.
Yep.
I will just end it by saying that I see the greatest success when you can get the people involved in the process, right? Like if you can get the staff at the clients or at the business or whatever to make it a game. I don't care like who does better, who gets more fished, just get them or ask them what is something that's happened to you or somebody know. What is it we need to train? Like, because if you can get them, again, if they own it, then they're going to live it, right? Like, I want people to just wake up and think about it when they walk in the office. Like, just like, hey, I care because I like my job and I like the people who are giving me a job and I want to get a paycheck next week. And I know if I'm not thinking about things and I click the wrong thing, by gosh, everything could just go away at a blink of an instant and bam, we're all done.
Yeah.
Very far-fetched, super extreme sounding, crazy, but real. And so think about that.
I know we're over, but I just want to mention the last time I did an in-person training, we pulled up the list of the clickers, and this was an accounting firm, and it was 2 partners that were highest in the list.
Yeah.
And everybody was like laughing, and we went through like, the look of what they clicked and why, and we tried
But they
to make
love
it
that,
funny.
right? The people ate that up, and so now they're in it. They're bought. They're invested, right? They're going to make sure their partners are taking care of business, right? I mean, that's and that's
we run it on our own company. We run it here.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh! I mean, come on! I do more in our company than I do for our clients because my gosh! I mean, if they get us, they get them all.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about it.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right. Very cool.
Good session. We will reconvene next week.
Thanks for having me.